little bit about being made redundant. That's really hard to say. Talking a little bit about being made redundant. Okay. Hello and welcome back to my channel. Come on, Jeffree Star. Hi, I said I'd make another video and I didn't lie. So thank you for coming back to my channel. So if you're actually interested in seeing me, this is who I am. This is me. I'm not wearing a jumper today, but I'm wearing a super cool bandana because I'm a cool kid and I wish the 90s was still a thing. I've got my YouTube spread set up. I've got my record player and a plant. I've actually got a couple of plants starting around here. I've got a little moon neon light that I've got from that. I've got my candle burning. I'm YouTuber ready. So let's crack on with today's video. So previously, let me just close that drawer before I bash my arm on it again. So previously in my last video, I mentioned that I was made redundant last year. So I thought I would do a little story time, give a little advice about being... Great. Stop me mid-flow. So I'll give you some advice about being made redundant and what to do, how to go about things, where to go, blah, 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 blah. So let's kick off by saying I was made redundant in June 2018 from my job. I don't know if I've said before I worked for Maplin. Maplin was one of the largest electronic suppliers in the UK. Actually called the electronic specialist. It was a place you went if you wanted to go and get your little tiny components, which I have no idea what they do, but if you were to show me one, I'd know exactly what it was. So you got your capacitors, you've got your resistors, you've got motor starter capacitors, you've got all kinds of things which I have no idea what they do, but I know what they are. And like, I'm not an electronics guy, but I know far too much about electronics now. So yeah, let's crack on. As I was saying, made redundant from Maplin in June. We actually found out we were going into administration on the 28th of February, the same day that Toys R Us went into administration. So I got a lot of questions asking if we were owned by the same people. No, just unfortunately that they had announced our administrations at the same time. The administration for Maplin was handled by a company called PwC. They have done a lot of people's administrations and actually have not had great outcomes with a lot of them from what I've read. The Maplin one was okay. It wasn't the smoothest as far as I go from talking to people who have been made redundant in the past and how companies have handled it. So we first found out on the 20th. We didn't actually find out as a company until the day after. I actually found out through Sky News that Maplin had gone into administration, and in the WhatsApp group that the store had, it went crazy. Going, what the hell is this? Why are we doing this? What's happening? Does anyone know? Any answers? Please answer, please, please, please. And eventually a tweet went out from Maplin saying, unfortunately, at this time, we're now going into administration looking for a buyer. Maplin could not find a buyer at the time, so we kind of just like plodded along, like day by day, seeing how things are going. Stores were closing every other week. There was in 2-week intervals, like 8 stores at a time were closing. There was 250 stores in the UK and Ireland, so there was a lot of people losing their job, as well as whatever is in the warehouses and head office. So it was really stressful for a lot of people. So during this time, the store manager that I had actually left and found a new job, which, like, well done. Like, you didn't see out the store to the end. I get why, because you weren't going to get any redundancy from them anyway, because you were new to the company. So I ended up taking over the role as the assistant manager, as the store manager. I saw out the entire administration process, being in contact with head office, with PwC, and the Hilco reps. So the Hilco were brought into the company by PwC to kind of help us out, and because they had handled HMV's administration, they had actually bought HMV, they'd done many other companies, but the representative I have was, for lack of words, as I said in my last video, a dick. He decided he didn't like my store, he didn't like the guys I work with, he didn't like how I'd run things, but we were still within the Midlands producing the highest figures, despite like not having a full team, having many people walk out, having people leave, having a manager just abandon us. So I don't think I did a bad job. Like, he literally just took disliking to me and my team, essentially, and I wasn't happy about it, and I did voice my opinion. So during the administration process, my pay didn't change. I actually got paid exactly the same wage that I was on, whereas I was promised once I had taken over as store manager, I would get a higher wage, which you'd expect for someone who's taken on more responsibility from handling the rotas, payroll, etc. Making sure everyone gets paid, making sure I have enough staff in. But, you know, money isn't everything. But more money would have been nice. I'm not going to say money buys happiness, but it can buy you nice things and they can give you a little bit of happiness. So following that process, I constantly looked for jobs. I looked everywhere. I took interviews everywhere until the day that we actually made redundant. I couldn't find anywhere. I was still searching high and low for jobs. I was searching everywhere I possibly could. And I eventually found one with Greggs. Yeah, as I mentioned, I did not enjoy Greggs. But yeah, Greggs was Greggs. No free pasties, no nothing. Not shaming Greggs, like Greggs are great. Like, I'm a fat man in the UK. Like, Greggs is like the go-to place. And their coffee's pretty good. Like, working for Greggs, I really like their coffee. I just like coffee, but Greggs coffee. So just wanted to talk a little bit about what to do next after being made redundant, after basically getting that letter from the company handling your administration saying you're no longer, you're a surplus to requirement, basically, that you are no longer going to be employed by whoever. So where the way the company I worked for handled it was through the government that you would claim your redundancy. So I had to go and wait for a letter from the company PwC, who handled my administration, and then file for redundancy. They give you a redundancy code. You then go to .gov, the UK government HMRC, Homeland Revenue something website, and fill out all the information. Mine was based on how many years I'd worked for the company, so I got 2 years because I'd worked for the company for 2 years. So it's depending on how many years you work for the company and how long you've worked for the company and your wage, it calculates upon that. So whereas I was working 40 hours a week, I got 2 full weeks paid. But because they had only given us 1 week's notice of the redundancy closure, I was able to claim another week's money. So I ended up walking away with 3 weeks worth of pay, which wasn't the most outstanding amount of money, but it survived me until I could start the week later at my jobs at Greggs. So this money usually takes a couple of weeks to get processed for them to sort it all out, but it's a really simple process. I'll see if YouTube will actually let me link down in the description box. There's loads of websites as well that can give you some extra help, give you a hand in what to do next. I know there's also places that you can claim money if you've worn a uniform before, which I didn't do, but I know you can. One of the things I want to say is don't panic. Panicking doesn't help anything. I know it's a stressful time and you're going to wonder where money's going to come from. You're going to wonder where you're going to feed your family. You're going to keep the house over your head. Where in my case, I had just taken on my flat and I found out I was being made redundant. Yes, I had a couple of months to get myself sorted, but I was still panicked because of that. But don't panic. Like, there are so many jobs available and there's so many brilliant companies you can go to work for. Like, do what I did, and for a month and a half, 2 months, I took on a job that I didn't want to do, but I did it because I needed the money, and it saw me through, and it paid for what I needed it to pay for. It paid for travel, it paid for housing, it paid for my rent, it paid for my bills, and that was it. That helped me out immensely. So as much as I dislike the job, I will always have a soft spot for Greggs now, just to say, yeah, you helped me out, guys. Well done, thank you very much. So just gonna close this video off because I've rambled a little bit. I don't really know if I've given that much information. It's just a little bit of a story time about how I handled my redundancy and what happened, just expanding further on the last video. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe down below, and hit the notification bell because I probably will post another video. With this channel, I kind of want to go in a different route now. So story times, I want to do some more vlogs, I want to do some more nerdy stuff, some more horror related stuff. I've got a loot fright coming in the next couple of months, whenever that eventually turns up. I also want to do more fashion videos because it's something I've become really passionate about, and I want to share my own individual style with people. I want to do some hauls, some styling videos, because all you really see in the men's world at the moment on YouTube in fashion is really skinny guys or really hench muscly guys, which fair enough, it's great to look at because most of the time they have the kit off, but I'm a big guy, and I feel like big guys are underrepresented in that kind of area. So let's do it, let's have fun, and I will see you on the next one. Bye. So I'm going to dedicate this video to my good friend who used to work with me at Maplin as well, Kat Giddens. Kat, I love you, you know this, so here you go, here's a YouTube video just for you.